I will make food security a reality.
I will design groundbreaking prototypes.
I will create the next life-saving vaccine.
Whatever your career aspirations, the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus is where tomorrow's game changers begin their journey. With fully accredited programs across 8 faculties, our graduates are innovating regionally and impacting globally. See what it's like to be UE. Visit sta.uwi.edu/apply.
Good evening and welcome to our postgraduate virtual open day and to the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies. My name is Winel Gregorio, Director of Marketing and Communications. Thank you for taking the time to hear about postgraduate options and to have your questions answered this evening. Our session today is being broadcast in dual format, where we are, of course, meeting with you on Zoom, and this session is also broadcast live on Facebook. Be sure to let us know where you're locked on from, whether it's in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, or further afield. Just to give you an idea of how this evening's session will run, I am joined by Professor Brian Copeland, Pro Vice Chancellor and Campus Principal, and members of our extended campus leadership team. We have with us Professor Harry Haran Sitharaman, Director, Graduate Studies and Research, and we have Mrs. Deborah Charles Smythe, Senior Assistant Registrar, Graduate Studies and Research. Each of the panelists will give a short presentation to put this session into context and to give information that will guide our conversation this evening. We're also joined on the panel by staff of the Office of Graduate Studies and Research, the Division of Student Services, as well as the Bursary and the Marketing and Communications Office. I know that you have several questions, and I'm hopeful that many of these can be answered. You may submit questions during this live session utilizing the chat on Zoom or via the comment section for those viewing. So let's get started. Firstly, I want to invite our campus principal, Professor Brian Copeland, to share brief remarks. As we navigate the impact of COVID-19, we know that the future of this campus will be shaped by the energy and the innovative ideas of our students. I now ask Professor Copeland to address you.
Yes, thank you, Winel, and thank you to our virtual audience for tuning in to our virtual open day for incoming postgraduates. As our Director of Marketing and Communications mentioned, we kicked off these sessions and will be continuing throughout this week and next week. We understand, particularly in these times, that connection is still of utmost importance. And whilst we have to connect virtually, I'm certain that you will find this session to be just as valuable to supplement your ongoing engagement with campus. And of course, the wider Caribbean is cautiously emerging from the shadow that it has placed over society. Businesses are opening, traffic is moving once more, and we are reawakening. But it is clear that the world we have awakened to is not the same. COVID-19 has undoubtedly shaken up the world we once knew. With the pandemic forcing people and industries to constantly adapt as the situation progresses, it can make research even more challenging than it already is. Rest assured though, there's one thing that will make finding a career easier and more likely to land you a great position, and that is a higher degree. A higher degree, whether it be a taught master's program like a diploma, an MSc or an MA, or more research-based like an MPhil or PhD, is a great way to differentiate yourself in a crowded market, increase your knowledge, and to boost your salary, among other benefits, of course. In a world forever changed by COVID-19, a higher degree is a strong foundation for building your career. In months, UE St. Augustine will start its 2020-2021 academic year, the first school year after COVID-19. Like the post-pandemic society, there is uncertainty, but there's also great momentum and great possibility. Skills and attributes that go beyond pure academics are incredibly important now. A new world requires new citizens for themselves and for their societies. Academic qualifications are not enough. Will you have the resilience, for example, to face the difficult task of receiving funds? Will you have the moral strength to stand up for the disadvantaged and confront the corrupt? Will you have the compassion to invest resources in causes that may have no personal benefit but can improve people's lives? Will you have the mastery, the self-mastery, to know when to lead or when to follow, when to fight, when to make peace? Will you feel a connection to your country and region and work for the good of both? If it's anything that COVID has taught us, is that all these things are extremely important. This is possible. A higher degree teaches a proficiency of academic information. It also teaches soft skills that employers are looking for in a post-COVID-19 world. It also provides some of the knowledge and skills for you to start your own business or to make a better contribution to the business in which you are a partner. In this regard, you should know that UE sees itself as a catalyst for building a new business economy, nationally and regionally. But we will talk more about that when you join us. For now, I will just summarize that some of the top skills you will need savviness, creativity, innovation, data literacy, critical thinking, leadership, and emotional intelligence. So when you decide to be a graduate student, you will also become part of a select group, sharing the bond of 5 campuses within one university, connected by water, by technology. This campus in Trinidad and Tobago, you know excellence. Together, will be the main unifying force in the curriculum. As universities go, the University of the West Indies is young, quite young. But there is a saying in Jamaica that you might be tiny, but still power. The saying means that you are punching above your weight, and that we have. That is what UE has done. In just 72 years since that first Royal Charter was written, we have given this region more than 237,000 graduates, including 20 heads of government and a Nobel Prize. There's probably no sector of Caribbean society, public or private sector, from the that we have not touched, from the judiciary to civil society to entrepreneurs and leaders of all professions, all graduates in all of these areas and even more. At times, the need for Caribbean voices has never been greater or more urgent. When you take the next step in equipping yourself and your country with high quality knowledge and skills that will lead to a sustainable economic and ecological growth. We are a global university, and the quality of our work is internationally recognized. UE is ranked among the top 4% in the World University Rankings of 2020, the top 4%. This includes almost 1,400 universities across 92 countries. We are ranked among the top 2% of universities in Latin America and the Caribbean. Further, we are still the only Caribbean university on the prestigious list and ranked number 1 among the more than 200 universities that are registered in this region. Now, the criteria used by Times Higher Education include teaching, research, industry income, and international outlook, as well as citations. And these are research citations. People are reading the work of our scholars and students. The last 2 are significant, since the university is much smaller and less resourced than many of its competitors on the list. Yet, we receive very high scores for citations and international outlook, placing us among the top 75 percentile of universities. Now, in the global pandemic, we are anticipating a post-COVID-19 recession, witnessing the call for social justice for Black and Indigenous people of color, and carrying the fight with other vulnerable small island development states for climate action. Many challenges. 2020 has turned everything upside down. Nice round number. Didn't work out the way many people thought it would have at the start of the year. I urge you, make 2020 the year you opted to change the game for you, for your families, and for your region. During these unprecedented times, you must equip yourself with high quality knowledge and skills. You will get that at this campus, all the while participating in knowledge discovery and application process, even as you work towards your higher degree. As I close, history is just it. that one of the positives from this pandemic, from any pandemic in fact, is likely a more highly skilled workforce. With your higher degree, you will begin the process of applying new knowledge to world problems at a time when the need for the voices of the Caribbean has never been greater. We are here and we are ready to support you on this part of your journey, as we always have. I'd like to thank you and wish you all a good day during this virtual session. Thank you. Well.
Thank you, Principal. Thank you for those words. Now, viewers, I want to assure you that we are committed to the academic journey of our students and committed, as Professor Copeland has said, to producing the ideal graduate for the region, for Trinidad and Tobago. And to that end, we are adjusting the format of some of our courses and programs, at the same time maintaining the quality of these courses and programs. And a couple of things to note in this regard. Firstly, we are planning for a September start, but we anticipate that teaching will be done as a hybrid, a mixture of in-person and online instruction. The integration of on-campus teaching and online delivery will vary from one course to the next. Some will be entirely online. Others, particularly those that entail physical learning or exploratory activities like lab or fieldwork, will offer a combination of online and on-campus activity. Additionally, all on-campus activities will be conducted in keeping with established COVID-19 protocols for public spaces, especially physical distancing, the wearing of face masks, hand hygiene. We continue to be guided by the best advice of local health authorities and to adhere to government regulations to protect the health of our staff, our students, and surrounding communities. So as Principal shared just now, tertiary education is vital for producing the caliber and the diversity of graduates needed for both the economy that exists today and for the future. It fuels competitiveness and growth by preparing professionals like yourselves to shape the future. Tertiary education is a fundamental requirement for employment in the industries that drive the global knowledge economy. In this regard, a higher degree is important for retooling in some cases and taking your careers even further. To expand on this is our Director of Graduate Studies and Research, Professor Hari Haran Sitharaman, who will speak of the value of a postgraduate education, especially in the current environment. His topic, retooling and career development. Prof, I hand over to you now.
Thank you, Venel. I just wanted to share my screen. Okay, I'm here to talk about the general aspects of postgrad education. The specific answers for your questions will be dealt with after our presentations. My topic, as Vinel said, is the value of postgrad education in the current environment and how we are retooling and redesigning for the career development. Now, the outline of my presentation is going to be, I'm going to give you an introduction and see the value of postgrad education during this COVID-19 era and beyond. How do we retool our education systems? What is important for the career development? And I'll give you a summary. At this point of time, I would request our marketing and communication colleagues to conduct a small poll, a very short poll, 2 questions, that's it. And can you please, take the answers for these 2 questions? I just wanted to know how many of you are interested in this postgrad education. So you can choose as many for the question 1, and you can choose yes or no for question 2. You can start now. Okay, I see 50% of you said that you you have the interest of pursuing a postgrad degree for advancement of academia. 61% career advancement, 33% to have an edge in the job market, and 20% of you said the most of the jobs in my field require postgrad. And I'm so happy to see 91% of you said that you are interested in undertaking research activities. That's great. So moving on, you know, the education standards have increased over the past decades. This particular news item which came in New York Times itself is almost a decade old. 2011 it came in. And this is William Klein's story, which is very familiar to most of us. After earning his bachelor's in history, he found himself living in his parents' Buffalo home, working at the same $7 an hour waiter job. You know why? The new bachelor's degree is the master's degree. You know, when I came into Trinidad, and everybody said that, oh, you must have a degree to get a job. And I'm sure that now everybody is saying that you must have a master's to get a job. So there are increasing standards. And if you see the data from throughout the world, you know, it's all doubling up within 10 years. From 2001 to 2012, you can see that it went up from 150,000 to almost 300,000. And same thing happens in US too. The growth of master's degree has almost doubled and tripled. So from 1980s to the current time, the number of master's degrees have tripled throughout the world. And a rough estimate is that around 20% of all undergraduates are now pursuing post-graduation. And so the supply goes up throughout the world. Now, when the supply is up, and if an employer can hire a person with postgrad education, they prefer this person over another person who has an undergrad degree. So the demand for specialized post-graduation is increasing in all the fields as we speak. So once upon a time, a bachelor's degree was sufficient for most jobs, but now we need a master's degree. Even a master's degree was sufficient for lecturing students at once upon a time. Now we need a PhD. We used to just see a general doctor for most ailments, but now we need specialists, subspecialists, and super specialists. So everywhere we have advanced, and so it has become mandatory for post-graduation in most fields. So what is the value of post-graduation? You know, you all must know that, you know, most of our postgrad degrees, whether it's master's or research-based degrees, you know, you don't even need to question. But even in most postgrad master's degree, we require some form of research as a part of the training. So what happens is, with this research experience, this experience enhances the person's creativity, innovative skills, critical thinking abilities, and problem-solving skills. And so in a competitive job market and a career environment, post-graduation is preferred as the most desirable qualification. Now, with the COVID-19 era, there's going to be economic recession due to this pandemic, and job market will further shrink and will become much more competitive. And to have an edge over others, it is going to, we are going to be pushed that postgrad degree will become very, very important. So we are now trying to retool our education. We are trying to redesign the whole paradigm, taking into consideration the lockdown and other mandatory regulations by the government. So we approach this by addressing the infrastructure of the education, the processes, and the outcomes involving teaching and learning. So what we do, the structure of this education is, it comprises the human and material resources which are required for educating students. So what we are now doing is, either we are going online for things which, for the courses which can be done online, and we still need to have a face-to-face where, for some lectures and also some laboratory and practical work, we need to have a physical presence of the students in the university, and some courses we will have a blended learning. So we are currently working on it as to which are the programs which can be done completely online versus blended learning. Okay, and then we also discuss about the importance of webinars, recorded lectures versus live sessions. We do have, the constraints of many students who may not have a continuous internet supply, internet connection. So even with these type of Zoom meetings, we do see that, we have many snags. So what we try to do is we record all the lectures and upload for students to see. And we do have webinars recorded, which students can go and see. So there was an article last month again in New York Times that, is this the end of traditional university teaching and learning systems? Everybody is going to sit at home and have a computer or some screen and then learn everything. I wouldn't completely support that particular statement. We still need a lot of university training, physical training. So I don't think there is an end, but there will be a change in how we deliver the education system. With respect to the processes, I must say that, the graduate studies, within a very short frame of time, we switched to digitalization. We accept all the supporting documents, application form now by email. Everything is undertaken by email. And, we process all the applications and admissions right from the student submission until offer letter. We are doing it online. Now, the processes involved in teaching and learning has also changed. And research and supervision, we are accepting projects online. Where the submissions online, the evaluation is online. So we have a lot of changes in the overall processes of education. So even the applications for scholarships, we are now currently digitalizing, and everything will go online so that, physical presence and the hard copy printing will be reduced. So the outcomes are also changing. The whole last month, we spent a lot of time with the AQUAC and also with our Board of Graduate Studies as to what we really expect out of a postgrad student, whether it can be completely coursework, which is a formative assessment, whether we can get, the students to, complete the coursework within the time frame. What is the role of a standardized end of term exam, which is a summative assessment, which we have now changed to open book models and take home assignments and so on and so forth. So there are lots of retooling and redesigning happening with respect to postgrad too. So what we need to balance here is, how our postgrad education is satisfying the requirements of the society, and how we can satisfy it with formative and summative assessments, and how we can enhance our postgrad students at the world of work. And that is what we are trying to balance. And your choosing of a postgrad degree depends on many, many, many factors. Your undergraduate degree, your alignment of interest. I saw a question whether I have to go to business administration or to ICT. It all depends on the focus of your research, the focus of how you want to pursue your, whether you want to go into the business administration or purely into the ICT technology. So it is alignment of your interests, your career pathways, and whether you need to get into a professional course, and what are the avenues for further progress, employability, and also remuneration. So I want to finish it by saying that, last year I was in Spain attending this World Congress of Pain Federation, and I was surprised that, 75% and above, the most of the papers presented in that conference was emanating from postgrad research. And I will tell you, postgrad research is really, really, really valuable. And I will tell you a secret that, I'm a professor, and most of my papers, I worked with my postgrads, and they have actually become authors even before their degree. And so I think, it's very valuable, and you must pursue this postgrad. Because, the landmark research, inventions, and innovations are the hallmarks of a progressive society. So in summary, postgrad education is increasingly becoming important for career and progress, and you choose the right program which you are interested in and which is suited for you. And we at the Graduate Studies and Research are always willing to guide you, and we will also liaise with the faculties for you to give the further guidance. I know a postgrad education is long and like very, very long, but it is really worth it. So do not get turned by people telling you that, oh, how long you'll do this, PhDs and MPhil and so on and so forth, but it has its own value. So welcome. And we all look forward to, for your admission and joining us as a team. Thank you. Over to you, Venel. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. And I thought that was an insightful presentation for our viewers. I'm certain that it gave our graduate prospects a lot to think about. And now we will pivot to get into some more of the practical guidance on the application process specifically. We know that navigating the preparation and the submission of documents can be daunting sometimes. So to take us through the process, I want you to join me in welcoming our Senior Assistant Registrar for Graduate Studies and Research, Ms. Deborah Charles-Smythe.
Hi everyone, I'm about to share my screen. So, good. I am Deborah Charles-Smythe, and as you heard, I'm the Senior Assistant Registrar for Graduate Studies and Research. I just want to say thank you today for joining us for this virtual session. And what I'll be dealing with today, we'll be looking at the types of programs offered by the University of the West Indies. We are going to be looking at the levels at which these are offered. And so not to delay any longer, we'll jump right in. So let us look. University of the West Indies at the St. Augustine campus, we offer 64 postgraduate diplomas. And these are normally of 1 year duration, and they consist in the main of taught courses. We offer at least 180 taught master's programs, Master of Science, Masters of Art, Masters of Education, LLM, etc. These programs tend to last for about 2 years, and in the last semester or the last year of the program, normally it takes about a little more than a semester, so we consider it another year. You would have to do a research project, a research paper, or practicum. We do offer research programs such as Master of Philosophy and the Doctor of Philosophy. Now, the Master of Philosophy can last anywhere between 3 years to 5 years, and the PhD between 5 years to 7 years. These are all determined by the length of time of your registration. If you're a part-time student, it's a longer session. If you're full-time, it's a shorter period. We also offer professional doctorates. We offer only about 2 professional doctorates. We do have the PhD in Business Administration out of the Faculty of Social Sciences, the Department of Management Studies. We do have a DBA, Doctor of Business Administration, out of Art and Lockjack, but it's not going to be offered at for this particular upcoming academic year. Now, for the professional doctorate, it's normally about 2 years of taught courses, and then another 2 to 3 years of doing your seminars, of writing, doing your research. And you do have to present at an oral for professional doctorate. International students and non-nationals are normally accepted as full-time students. It's an immigration requirement. But CARICOM nationals, those people who have the CSME, they may be accepted as full-time students. Other than that, without the CSME, you tend to be accepted as a part-time student. With respect to the Master of Philosophy and the Doctor of Philosophy, you would normally have to write a research proposal, and this must accompany your application. Without it, we are unable to process the applications for MPhils and PhDs. Applications, the documents that normally accompany your applications would be everyone would have to send a CV. You would have to, of course, send in an original transcript for students who are from the University of the West Indies, whether at Mona, at Cape Phil, St. Augustine, Open Campus. Normally, you do not have to include your transcript because we do have those online, and so we are able to access it. But anyone else with a degree from another university, you would have to let us have your transcript. Some programs will require a job letter. For example, the engineering programs, we need to know whether or not you're employed in the field. And in some instances, people will be invited for interviews. Normally the PhD applicants are invited for an interview. Now, people tend to think that full-time and part-time normally mean when the classes are going to be offered, but full-time and part-time, really that doesn't have anything to do with when the classes are timetabled. The difference between a part-time and a full-time is a matter of credits or course load. You should, for a part-time student, you should not be registering for 24 credits. You must be registering for less than 24 credits in any academic year. There is a recognition. Most people, of course, the faculties and the university, we do recognize that most of our postgraduate students are mature students, they are working students, and so they do understand that most of you would not be able to take time off from work to attend day classes. And so we have that the majority of faculties do offer your classes, the PG classes, do offer them after working hours. Now, evening offerings, as the name suggests, they tend to be offered after working hours. The University of West Indies at St. Augustine, we do have 8 faculties, and each faculty would have several departments within it, and each department would offer a range of programs. And so we have the Faculty of Engineering, Science, Technology, Law, Food and Agriculture, Medical Sciences, Humanities and Education, Social Sciences, and a brand new faculty, the Faculty of Sport. We have some institutes and some units. We have the Institute of Gender and Development Studies, the Institute of International Relations, Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Studies, Seismic Research Unit, and we do have another one which I did not put here, is the Cook Research Unit. These institutes tend to offer research degrees, but some of them do offer 1 or 2 taught programs within the mix. So let us look at our faculties and what they do offer. Now, to save time, I will not be able to call out all of these programs. What you have displayed here really is just a little bit, just a taste of what is offered, because as you know, all the programs could not have been included here. We did ask the faculties to identify what they may consider to be their flagship programs, and these are the ones that came forth from the different faculties. In Faculty of Engineering, they tended to cover the different departments. You have electrical and computer engineering, etc. You will also know that in all the faculties, MPhils and PhDs are offered in various fields. The MPhils and PhDs tend to roll off from the master's degrees. So you may have an MSc in crop protection, and then you have an MPhil and PhD offered in crop protection. And so it will go through all the faculties. I've displayed them so you can actually have a view of what is offered. Social sciences, you have criminology and criminal justice. Many people apply to that program. The strategic leadership and management, which has changed recently, it will be called the MSc, the strategic leadership and innovation. So that's new, that's coming up. It has been revamped. We have Faculty of Medical Sciences, many DM programs. We do not take in a lot of students in the DM programs because they're very specialized and they want to make sure that they're able to teach quality, give them a quality education here. So where other programs may take in up to 20 students, 15 students, the DMs tend to take in up to a maximum sometimes of just about 8. No more than that. The Faculty of Law, they do offer postgraduate diplomas and LLMs. What you did not see under the faculties here, I did not put in the diploma programs, but they all do offer diploma programs as well. The Faculty of Law, it's the LLM, it's just a few years. It's not a very old program at the St. Augustine campus, and it's in corporate and commercial law, public law, intellectual property law, legislative drafting, etc. And they do have an MPhil PhD in law. The Faculty of Sports, brand new, they do offer a MONA online program, the UE FIFA CIS degree in sports management. And what you do have there even though it's not offered face-to-face at the St. Augustine campus, you're able to register for it online from Mona, but you can do it from St. Augustine. Now let's look at the qualifications for admission. It's simple. Graduates of the university, you must be a graduate of the University of the West Indies, or you can be of any of the campuses. So that's Open Campus, Cayfield, Mona, St. Augustine, and we now have 5 Islands. That's a new campus. You must be in possession of a degree from an approved university as well, approved by the Board for Graduate Studies and Research. And we also, another qualification would be for persons holding other suitable qualifications and or experience as approved by the Board for Graduate Studies and Research. For example, there are some, most master's students who are accepted should have an undergraduate degree, but there are some programs that do not insist on an undergraduate degree, but mainly professional certification or experience. For example, we do have the MSc in Sports Management. They look for certification there. And we do have the MA in Creative Design and Entrepreneurship. Again, they will ask a portfolio of your work. And these are programs that would require other than an undergraduate degree. Of course, if you have an undergraduate degree, that is an added benefit for your admissions. Now we can look at the minimum entry requirements. For graduates of certificates, diplomas, taught master's degrees and DM degrees, you need to have at least a minimum GPA of 2.5, which is equivalent to lower second class honors degree, or its equivalent. You may ask the question, what if I don't have a lower second class degree? What if I only have a past degree? Or maybe I don't even have a past degree. I may have something else, more professional, as I just mentioned, or I may have years of experience and I may have other certificates. Can I apply? Yes, you can apply. We will look at it. We will send it for processing. Because what you do have, when the department is looking at your application, they will consider what courses you have actually passed and whether you have done well in the courses that are relevant to the program that you are asking to be admitted to. So we look at your grades, and if it is that you've done well, you can be recommended for entry as a qualifying student. In other words, such candidates will not be given a firm offer initially, but they must successfully complete these qualifying courses to receive that firm offer. Your letter would indicate the qualifying courses that you would have to pursue. It will let you know about your qualifying exams. Normally you should complete your qualifying courses within either 2 semesters of registration as a full-time student or 4 semesters as a part-time student. And as I said, of course, it will depend on how many qualifying courses you have been asked to do. Qualifying students tend to pay a per credit fee, and most times qualifying courses are undergraduate courses. The reason for offering a qualifying course is to remedy any weaknesses or any deficiencies that the department may see in a candidate's academic record, and more or less to determine whether they are able to carry out graduate work. And so yes, people with past degrees, you are not left out at all. We can look at the minimum entry requirements for MPhil degrees. You should have a minimum GPA of 3.0 or an upper second class honors degree or its equivalent. Where someone again does not meet the qualification upfront for acceptance directly to the MPhil, one may be recommended to pursue a taught master's first, or they may be accepted as a qualifying student, or they may be allowed to enter the MPhil as a firm student, but be required to pursue additional courses to again deal with whatever deficiencies may exist or may seem to exist for that student. So you may apply for an MPhil degree and you may get an offer instead for a Master's of Science. Or of course, you may not be successful. That's also an option. The minimum entry requirements of professional doctorates, they are, you should have a taught master's degree in an appropriate field from UWI or another approved university. You should have attained at least a B+ average or its equivalent, and you're in that program, and you should possess required experience in particular fields specified. And we do have PhD and MD degrees. Again, the minimum entry requirement for PhD, MD degree would be an approved graduate degree awarded primarily for research. So someone who has done a taught master's degree, which has carried a research project or research paper at the end of it, the way the student has performed at that research paper, on that research paper project, will help to determine whether they can be accepted to the PhD and MD degree. So what is particularly of importance is the fact that you did do some research, you have written a research paper. And they're rather rigorous at UWI in terms of your research paper. And so if you do pass your research paper, research project with a B+ or an A, you have actually done very well. Another qualification for a PhD would be if you possess an MPhil degree. Because some people may not have come through the MSc route, they may have come through the MPhil route. And they may have completed at the MPhil route, so they can apply for a PhD. Some students actually get accepted to an MPhil, and what that acceptance allows is after 2 to 3 years, you can apply for an upgrade to the PhD from the MPhil level. So again, there are opportunities. We can look at the application process. Let's just have a look at this now. You can visit the PG admissions page. To get to the PG admissions page, you should visit the UW St. Augustine website. You should click on postgraduate studies or admissions. And when you click on admissions, you'll be given an option of choosing either undergrad studies or postgraduate studies. So it will take you there. Once you get onto the admissions page, you will see that there are some quick links for information on the programs, also information on the financial information on scholarships, etc. So you are allowed to visit the relevant links for necessary information. Once you complete, of course, it invites you to apply. And you will click on the link that says apply now or apply here. Once you complete the application, the online application, you'll be prompted to submit. A confirmation receipt will be generated. And this is what you will be emailing to us at pgonline@sta.uwi.edu, along with all your supporting documents. One thing you should note is that you need to apply at postgrad. You need to apply only for one program. It doesn't mean that people do not apply for more than one program, but when we do get to your application, we contact you either by email or by phone, and we ask you to let us know what is your preference, because we can only process one application. You can also write in if you want to change your applications. You know, sometimes you would apply and suddenly you change your mind. You may have spoken to a friend, you may have thought about something, you may have seen something as and say, I don't think this is the program I want to apply to. And so you wonder whether or not you can change your application. Yes, you can. You can send us an email, refer to the application and the program that you had applied to, and you could let us know that you would like to change your application. And we would respond to you, and that is allowed. This should, of course, be done before the close of applications. And you know, close of applications this year would be July the 10th. Now, a person who has not been successful with their application and they receive that letter saying that you've been unsuccessful, you do have an opportunity up to July 31st to ask to transfer your application to another program. It could be a program within the same faculty, within the same department, or it could be a different faculty, a different department altogether. There is one of the transcripts, as I referred to earlier, transcripts are important. And transcripts must be sent directly from the university at which you were awarded your last degree, and must be sent to us via pgtranscripts@sta.uwi.edu. We do receive from student copies of transcripts. We do receive your certificates, receive these things, but it is necessary for us to get the original transcript from your university. Now, there are times when persons are unable to take up an offer for whatever reason, and they may seek to have the offer deferred. You may ask, can I defer my offer? And the answer is yes. You can defer your offer to the next academic year. Some people tend to ask whether they can defer it to the next semester. But most of the taught postgraduate programs begin in September, and it's not always easy to defer your registration to another semester. Where that is not possible, therefore, we defer it to the next academic year. It's a bit different for MPhils and PhDs, because MPhils and PhDs can begin anytime. They can begin at the start of an academic year, or they can begin anytime by a semester. They can begin either semester 1 or semester 2. And so they can ask to defer to a second semester or another semester. In exceptional circumstances, deferrals may be allowed for a second year, but most times we just allow 1 year deferral. There are instances where persons have been allowed to defer for another year. So this is the end of this presentation. I have one thing I didn't say, which is online here. It says that the non-refundable application processing fee has been waived just for this period because we understand what's been happening. So it's waived from May 11th to July 10th, deadline date. What I also wanted to say, the faculty programs that you saw listed here, we would not, in this session, be able to give you more details on the specifics about programs. However, from tomorrow all the way to July 3rd, you will be allowed to register for virtual sessions being put out per faculty. So whichever faculty's programs you're interested in, you can register for that particular faculty. Of course, you can register for all the faculties, but the ones that you're really interested in, register for those, and then you will be able to get your questions answered with respect to the particular programs and specific details about those programs. So let me end here because I know we want to have enough time to respond to your questions. You may have lots of questions. So let us just go straight into that part of the afternoon. So goodbye for now.
Thank you, Mrs. Charles Smythe, and I'm glad you said for now because we have several questions coming up for you to answer. I thought that was a really practical and informative presentation, and thank you for that. We've been getting plenty of questions about the process, and I'm sure that your presentation was able to help clear up any concerns that persons may have had. So now we move on to the question and answer segment. And this is a really engaging part of the evening. The formal presentations are done and it's your turn to be heard. So our team has been taking note of the questions, and I want to start off by asking Mrs. Charles Smythe again about to differentiate between the MSc and the MBA offered by the Arthur Lockjack School.
This is my,
able to hear? Yes.
let me get it. Do you want to know the difference between the
MSc and the MBA, essentially?
Okay, essentially, it would be good to have an Arthur Lockjack person here to answer that, but essentially the entry requirements are the same. What you may have a bit different would be the credit requirement. It may be 40-something credits for an MBA, and MSc may be less credits. Then, of course, will be the content of the program. You do have, of course, many workshops and seminars for the MBA. The MSc tends to be mainly a lot of taught courses, and then you go straight into research project or research paper. MBA, they do have a practicum at the end, but they do have many workshops and a few more courses, a few more credits that go there. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you for that. And Principal, perhaps you can help with the other question. The question is around COVID-19 and international students being able to come on campus. So I wonder if you could put this in the context of campus preparedness in general and what would happen in terms of the new academic year as we prepare to respond.
Yes, thanks, Manel. We take it from a couple of angles. First of all is ability to actually come physically on the campus, which actually will depend on your ability to enter the country. Trinidad and Tobago right now still has its borders closed, but we expect that they'll be lifted before the start of semester. If that happens, and assuming that nothing untoward happens in terms of COVID, remember it's still lurking around the corner, then actual physical presence on campus is not a problem. The second aspect has to do with safety, which we put as the highest level priority in terms of our response to COVID. We have drafted and are following a return to work plan that encompasses the whole issue of safety in terms of, for example, classes, how classes are to be taught if to be done physically. I should say though that, as Wenel indicated earlier, that we see most of the classes being delivered online. That's about the safest you can get. You're in the safety of your own home. And students would be required to come in only if it needs to occur to ensure that the learning outcomes are achieved. So, for example, laboratories and the like cannot be done remotely. Although, by the way, we're working on that. We've had some success in that in the past, but we won't see that in the immediate future. So you'll have to come in and the labs will be properly prepared, make sure everything is properly sanitized. Masks will be the order of the day, sanitizers and all that order of the day. Basically, though, a lot of that responsibility will fall on the staff and the student to ensure that they are well protected, that the defense systems are up against the COVID. So as I said, it's two parts. One has to do with the government, which we have no control over. But once you're here, our job is to make sure that you're in a safe environment, and we have made full preparation in that regard. Thanks, madam.
Thank you, Principal. Mrs. Charles, perhaps you can talk about, I registered to do an MSc, and can I switch to an MPhil?
Yes, the regulations do allow that. You register for an MSc, and after a year or even one semester, you can actually apply to switch to, but of course, the department would consider your performance for the first, so if it's after a year, for the entire year, whether you've performed well and whether you are suitable for a research degree. So they do assess you at that point, but yes, you can apply after a semester or a year to switch to MPhil, having applied for an MSc.
And as you have the mic, we have a question. The MSc in Strategic Leadership and Management, it's with Evening University. How does it compare with the MSc Management Studies and that differentiation? Now, as you said before, we will be having faculty-specific sessions in the coming days, and we will post them in the chat for the specific days. But I don't know if from your knowledge you want to discuss the differences?
Between the MSc in Strategic Leadership and MSc in Management?
Yes.
Being within the evening university or within the day university, that doesn't make a difference at all. They're just two different programs. They're both, the MSc in Strategic Leadership is out of the Dean's office, and that was actually set up for specific, when it first started, it was for a specific group of people, mainly people in the regiment. And then, of course, it was, we extended it after about 2 or 3 years. It was then extended and offered to the public at large. And so it has been going on for a few years well. It is one of our largest programs. And of course, many, many people apply to do it. The MSc in Management Studies, it does have specializations like human resource management, financial, etc. in the MSc in Management Studies. So there are those specializations there. So there are 2 different programs, but one is offered and the times, as I said, most of the postgrad degrees are offered after working hours. There's not an as such anymore.
Thanks for that clarification. I was just going to say, thank you for that. And I want to call on our financial manager for student accounts. I saw a couple of questions in the chat around GATE and postgraduate studies. Mr. Kalu, are you online with us? And can you talk a little bit about that? Are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here, Manal. Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Great. Yes, good evening, everyone, future attendees and panelists. GATE funding, I saw somebody ask whether GATE funding would be available at the postgrad level, having gone through the undergrad level, and yes, that the answer to that question is yes. The funding, however, at the postgrad level is the percentages are a little bit less. So in terms of means testing for postgrad, if your household income is less than $10,000, then you can qualify for, less than $30,000, you can qualify for up to 50% of funding from GATE for your tuition. And if your household income is more than $30,000, you'll qualify for 25% GATE funding of your tuition, all right, which is different to undergrad. The application process is similar, getting your GATE Connect ID, and then logging into the GATE account to put your applications through every semester. There's a lot of information on the GATE website that that people who are interested could look at and view. Yeah, I don't know if there were any other questions. When else specific question?
I did see one on regional students as it pertains to funding.
Right. So GATE would again be relevant for Trinidad and Tobago nationals. Yeah, only. Yeah. All right. We do have funding arrangements and financing arrangements for students who don't qualify for GATE that we could also offer. Yeah, we also have payment plans for students at the postgrad level, similar to students at the undergrad level. Yeah. So financing a degree is something that we can help you with and help you to work out. And we know definitely is a challenge these days. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Kevin. Thank you very much. And we have a question about teaching and studying. I would love to teach at UWI while earning a PhD in sustainable development. How can I achieve this at UWI? I don't know if I can call on Prof. or Mrs. Charles Smythe. Which one of you would take that question?
Thank you, Vinil. The teaching assistant post is available in many faculties, but it's not automatic, the thing is, it all depends on the needs of a particular department and the unit. So the program coordinator will let them know that, whether you will get a demonstrator post or a teaching assistant post. So it is not definitely automatic. So depending on the vacancies and availabilities, teaching assistant posts will be available. So students should not come with that idea that, once we get into a PhD, automatically we will get a teaching assistant post. Ms. Charles Smith, Mrs. Charles Smith, you can further qualify it. Yeah.
You are correct, Prof. Harry. There are other people who may be working in other areas who may wish to do a PhD while working, and that is also allowed. But if you're working more than a certain number of hours per week, you can only be accepted as a part-time student and not a full-time student. So that is the other thing that you need to be aware of.
Thank you. We have, Mrs. Charles Smythe, we have a question about application processing, because as you would expect, we have persons jumping on, not from the start, but possibly just joining us. So if you could repeat for those just joining us about the applications process, and specifically as well, deferring acceptance. Just to give an overview of the process and if you have to defer acceptance.
Okay, the process, you would of course, if you're interested in the University of the West Indies and pursuing a program there, you would of course visit the UWI St. Augustine website. There, of course, for postgraduate admissions, you can actually click on postgraduate, or you can click on admissions and choose postgraduate or undergraduate. It's going to take you to the admissions webpage. And there you will find a full list of the programs that are being offered for the academic year upcoming for 2020-2021. You will also find quick links to give you information like financial information, scholarship information, documents required, etc., to go along with your application. So once we urge you to please read through the instructions before just going straight into applying now. One of the things when you go on to the application website and you're searching for your program, one of the first things you need to know is whether the program is full-time or part-time. Some programs are offered only full-time and some programs are offered only part-time. And there are some programs that are offered both full-time and part-time. And the way the application portal is set up, the programs are lodged under the particular way they're offered. So all part-time programs will be under part-time, or full-time will be under full-time. Part-time, full-time will be either way. And therefore, so we sometimes get calls from students, I'm searching for this program, or they will write us, and I'm not seeing it. So we then ask them, did you go under part-time or full-time to search for the program? And then they would immediately say, well, okay, it is not a part-time program, it's a full-time, search under full-time. And that's where you would find the program. So one of the first things you need to know when you're searching out your program, when you're going to apply, you would see when you visit our programs, we actually specify whether they're part-time programs or full-time programs or both. So you will know exactly what to search. We do put that in the instructions. So, okay, so having identified your program, having applied for your program, having completed the application process, you're then invited to submit the application, and a confirmation receipt, of course, will be generated. It is that confirmation receipt is actually something that says you have actually applied for a program, and it gives the program you've applied for, it gives your personal details. It also tells you where you should submit this receipt. So what is happening now because of COVID-19, we are asking you to submit it to PG online. Normally, students would have walked in with those documents. They would have walked in with the confirmation receipt, their referees, well, not referees reports, their student transcripts, certificates, things notarized by a Justice of the Peace or Notary Public. These are the things you will now have to submit to PG online rather than waiting for us to open to come in to submit it. And once we receive that, it is processed, we go through it, we verify your documents, we then send it off to the faculty will go through it, they will send it back to us with recommendations. That is approved, and once you have been accepted to a program, you are then given an offer of that program. Now, an offer could be a qualifying offer, provisional offer, or firm offer. A provisional offer, which I did not mention before, and I'll mention it now, is where you have not yet completed your degree. That you may be in an undergraduate degree, you have not yet been awarded that degree, you're in the last semester, and so we still encourage those students, those applicants to apply to PG, because by the time we get the application, the year would be finished, and we would know whether you have been awarded with a lower 2 and upper 2 first class, or just a pass degree. And then, so we'll give you a provisional. So the provisional says, subject to the completion of the award with a lower second class honors degree, etc., depending on what level you're applying to. And that is what happens. And if it is you get a firm offer, you will get a full offer of letter. You are then able to accept the offer immediately when you get that. For the provisional offer, we do ask you to indicate whether you are still interested, but we will not be able to give you a firm offer until you are awarded and you have satisfied the requirement for entry to the program. So that's it in a nutshell.
Okay, don't go too quickly. I have a question about the application process, the referee reports, and the transcript from other universities. And the question is if it's to be submitted in the mail hard copy or soft copy.
We did ask for everything to be submitted soft copy. So the transcripts will be submitted to PG transcripts at sta.uwi.edu, not from you, but from your university. So you would have to apply to your university, pay whatever the fee is for transcript. You have to say to them, please email the transcript, and you will give them the address, the email address, which they would send to us. And many universities now are sending their transcripts electronically, and they're giving us maybe a 24-hour window for us to download that transcript. So yes, we are receiving it online. We don't have to do it hard copy. With the referee's report, the actual form is online, and you're able to send that to your referee. He or she is able to complete it, and then they can email it back to us at pgonline@sta.uwi.edu. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm seeing some questions in the chat, and I want to reiterate that we will have faculty-specific sessions in the coming days. Just to give you a quick rundown, we have Faculty of Engineering on the 24th, Faculty of Sport on the 25th, Social Sciences 26th, Food and Agriculture 29th, Humanities and Education 30th, Science and Technology 1st of July, Medical Sciences 2nd of July, and Faculty of Law 3rd of July. And they all take place from 6 to 8 p.m. I know we had a question out of Jamaica pertaining to law. So I really urge you to tune in to that day when you will have the lecturers on hand to give you more specific information. I know you asked about COVID and entry into the country, and principal would have answered that in the main, but to get more specific, I really urge you to join the faculty specific sessions. Now, moving on to scholarships, I saw quite a few questions about scholarships, and I turn it over to Prof. Harry to answer in general about postgraduate scholarships and opportunities that exist. Prof?
Thank you, Vinel. The postgrad scholarships and bursaries are available for PhD MPhil students and not for master's students. MSc students are not, they do not get scholarships. But even the scholarships and bursaries, where we do have a deadline for application after joining. You work in the department, you work with your program coordinators, with your supervisor, and then you apply to the scholarship section of the graduate studies, and Mrs. Kalu Bhagwandin will process it. We will have to shortlist the applications. We will see the recommendations, and we do have a ranking system, and based on that, because with the constraints of the funds available, we can't give scholarships. And some of the PhD students and MPhil students, they do, as I previously alluded to, they can do some demonstrator or teaching assistant jobs if it's available. But scholarships, we rank them, and then we do have a committee to decide who gets it, and then they get it. So that is in general about scholarships and bursaries. Any specific question related to scholarships, Mrs. Kalu Bhagwandin is with us and she can answer to. Thank you, Vinay.
Okay, thank you for that. We have, I know persons have asked about Open Campus and some of their courses. We did have similar questions yesterday when we did the undergraduate session. We have with us our campus registrar, Dr. Dawn Gill, And I will call on her now to answer any sort of open campus questions and perhaps talk about the differentiation in the UE family. Dr. Gill?
Thank you, Winal. As you correctly said, the Open Campus is a separate campus. It's one of the 5 campuses of the UE family. We have the Cable Campus, Mona Campus, St. Augustine Campus, Open Campus, and of course 5 islands. Open Campus is currently accepting applications, just like us, all the campuses are. And they are actually having a lot of online promotions in terms of what their offerings are right now. They like us, are also having virtual open days, and it'd be useful to visit their website as well as visit some of their social media pages to see the varied offerings that they have. And of course, they have new programs like us, and we would want you, when you're making a decision in terms of joining the UE, you're joining the UE family, and so you should look at all your options and all the options that are available in the UE family.
Thank you, Dr. Gill. And just for your reference, viewers, the website is open.ue.edu, and you can get more information there. Now, Principal, we got a question about program accreditation, but in answer, I think it may be useful if you can explain the institutional accreditation for a bit, as well as program accreditation in general, please.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much. So accreditation has become very much a badge of honor, if you like, for many universities. There are 2 types of accreditations. One is institutional level, and that one targets the entire university. So, for example, University of West Indies at the St. Augustine campus is accredited by the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. And what they do is they basically look at the entire university, all of the programs, and look at how the programs are designed, how they're delivered, look at the support systems, look at funding, and so on. And based on that, they then decide whether to grant you. And we have been accredited by the ACTT. This is at the University of West Indies for the full period. I think it's 7 years, allowed for by the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, we were the first institution in Trinidad and Tobago to be so accredited. So that is overall. Now, when you talk about program accreditation now, there are institutions internationally, there are none locally, that accredit specific programs. If you look at the professional programs in particular, engineering and medicine, they have program accreditation that is done by external agencies. So they do very much the same thing at the university level, but now they focus on the program itself. And they compare the programs with world standards, world expectations, depending on the professional body that they represent. And for engineering, all of the bachelor's programs are accredited, and there are 1 or 2 master's programs that are accredited as well. Not all of them are. And that's basically because the demand for it is not as high at the master's level as it is for the undergraduate level. In engineering in particular, which I can speak of because I was a dean at engineering, those programs are accredited by professional bodies out of the UK, professional bodies. So for electrical engineering is the IET, for example, and there's also a specific one for each of the departments and each of the programs. Civil engineering has one. In fact, I think they are the most recent one to have completed the exercise. Medical sciences, all of the programs are accredited by one body, which is CAM-HP, which is a Caribbean construct in a sense, but it covers all medical programs in the Caribbean. So in short, not all of the postgraduate programs are accredited. Some people, to be quite frank, some people don't see the need for it. It all depends on what the focus of the program is. The ones that are accredited in electrical engineering and I think in civil as well, because of the practical nature of those programs, there was a need for accreditation. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you for that. We have another one for about returning students. I believe during my doctoral program, which is now 3 years, do I have to register again, or do I have to continue with the course? And I throw this to Mrs. Charles-Smythe.
Well, before she answers, could I just add something? And that is that just for information, that the General Medical Council recognizes the DM in anesthesia and intensive care of UE, so postgrad program. So medical sciences has a postgrad program that is in fact accredited as well.
Accredited, yes. Okay, thanks.
Yes, Vanessa. Once you have not been awarded your degree, you have to continue to register. So you register every semester until you complete your degree.
Okay, and we have in different formats questions surrounding the timelines around application. One specifically asked about the application that was sent in pre-COVID and understanding the timelines for getting a response.
The pre-COVID, some applications were dealt with pre-COVID and they were sent to faculties and departments for processing. That came in just before we closed. Actually, we had to get permission to go back on campus to pick up some of those applications, which we did, and those are actually being processed. And they have actually been processed during COVID. So where we are, if you have not heard from us, we are at the stage where we are waiting the recommendation for that particular application.
And another question to tag on to that I've seen in the chat, has COVID-19 changed any of the processes? Has anything changed in how a person should apply?
Yes, we did say so. People, the same, you apply online, just as normal, online, that is given. But what has changed is where and how you're submitting your documents. You would have either mailed it in by mail, or you may have sent it through the post, or you may have actually visited the campus to hand deliver these documents and your application. What is happening now, all of this is now being done online. And so anything to do with applications, you submit it to pgonline@sta.uwi.edu. Everything. So your queries regarding your applications, everything will come to PG Online. So that has changed. And the process of actually processing the application, that has also changed. That is now also an electronic process rather than being sent hard copy. Normally we would have sent a batch of applications down, but now we are sending electronic copies to the department. So that has changed.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I now call on my colleague, Sarah Kalu, at the Office of Graduate Studies to answer this very specific question. It is my understanding that the deadline for postgraduate scholarships has passed. Would I be able to apply for my MPhil in semester 2 and apply for a scholarship or bursary, or is it only offered annually?
Hi, good afternoon. Are you hearing me all right?
Perfectly well.
With regard to the question, yes, the student can apply to semester 2, but the scholarship applications will be reopening in January. I responded to this on the chat, but that's all right. So the student can apply for the scholarship with effect from January 2021 for commencement in September of 2020. Is that acceptable?
Thank you for that. And I think it would be beneficial for all. Thanks for that information. Mrs. Charles-Smythe, I am calling on you again. I'm a PhD UE Cave Hill student. Can I transfer to SDA?
Well, if Cave Hill would let you go, but you can actually transfer to St. Augustine from any of the other campuses. What would be necessary, of course, is that you would have to send documents to us. You should go online and apply so that at least we can begin that process. But go through your campus. If all your documents are already with your campus, you can actually let your postgrad office send those documents to us, letting us know that you wish to transfer to our campus, and then we take it from there. And of course, we'll need a letter from you indicating that you wish to transfer to the St. Augustine campus.
Okay, thank you for that. And we got some questions around costs of particular programs. We have a few questions on that. And I want to remind that these are available in our fee booklets online, sta.uv.edu/online form. So you can get those costings there. And to answer the next question about the application deadline. So the question is for campus registrar about the considerations to extend the deadline in light of the current circumstances with COVID-19. Dr. Gill, are you able to respond?
Yes, Manal, just to say that we are still looking at the flow of applicants, and we have not yet made a determination whether we will be extending the deadline. We have until the 10th of July, and so I'm really urging applicants to get your application in right now. We have, as Vinal indicated, we have a number of open days scheduled this week. And so you should take the opportunity to attend and should take the opportunity to put your application in way before the deadline of July 10th. We'll be making a determination probably within the next week or two, but please put in your application now.
Okay, thank you, Registrar. We have another question. I had applied and was successful with the PG diploma in IR, International Relations, and had requested a deferment. This would have been around 2014. How would this affect a new application for a different program? Mrs. Charles Mine?
Yes, it will not affect any new application, not because somebody asked for deferral. There's nothing negative about asking for deferral. Even though it was 2014 and it's now 2020 and you want to apply again to the university, of course your application is very welcome. And it will not affect what happened before will not affect this application or considering this application.
Okay. We have a question around the customer service, if you will. What support is available from PG? Can I call to speak with someone? So I'm guessing this person is trying to ascertain if the campus is open and alive for calls and interaction. So can you respond to that?
Yeah, actually we do have a live chat function. Our customer service representatives are always available to answer questions, and also we are going to start an appointment calendar. If they want to come in, they can apply to postgrad appointments. Email. We will give you the email now. I put it in the chat box. And then they can come in and clarify if they want, but most of it we can do by chat and by email. We are actually present in the graduate studies, but not to the full extent, but with a staggered duty roster, so we are still available. The live chat function is really working well, and I did see somebody from Nigeria joining us today, who we actually encountered in our chat a couple of weeks back. Thank you.
Okay. And turning our attention to accommodation, I call on colleagues from the Division of Student Services and Development. Mr. Kevin Snaggs, I know you're on the call with us. Can you explain the procedure for application for accommodation for international students specifically?
Thank you, Anel. Accommodation, the process is actually quite simple. On the campus website, we have a link to the Halls of Residence page. On the page, you would find our whole application link. Once you complete the link, you will receive instructions on how to complete the application. At UWI St. Augustine campus, we have 5 halls. One at the Joyce Gibson Innes Hall, which is at the Mount Hope campus, and 3 on the main campus, and an additional hall, the Arthur Lewis Hall of Residence on St. John's Road. Of the 5 halls, 2 have specific types of rooms for postgrad accommodation. The Arthur Lewis Hall of Residence and Freedom Hall both have air-conditioned, self-contained rooms for postgraduate students. So these rooms are a little bit more private, a little bit more comfortable. So it gives postgraduate students a little bit more exclusivity. But once again, the process is quite simple. You go online. Actually, the easiest way to find the application is to type in the search bar hall application, and the application will come up. Thank you.
Okay, and to pass the baton now to your colleague, Dr. Huggins. I hope she's with us on the call, asking for your support to let us know about students with disabilities, PhD, postgraduate students with disabilities. If you can share about support systems, Dr. Huggins.
Right, definitely. The Student Life and Development Department, we provide support for any student with a disability or a medical condition. The student will just simply have to submit a medical from their practitioner, which will indicate the condition and make recommendations for accommodations, whether it's within the classroom, whether it's for exams. We also provide support, one-on-one support with me. So whatever issue that student has, we also provide support, transportation around the campus, and we liaise with lecturers, supervisors on behalf of students. So basically, you come in, you register, you meet with me, we have a discussion about what your needs are, and then we proceed to meet those needs. So whether you're postgrad or undergrad, we are here to support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Huggins. And for those just joining us, I would just take a minute to remind of the faculty-specific sessions we will be having in the coming days. On the 24th of June, we have the Faculty of Engineering. That's tomorrow. Following that, on the 25th, Faculty of Sport. Then we're followed by Social Sciences on the 26th, Food and Agriculture on the 29th, Humanities and Education on the 30th, Science and Technology July 1st, Medical Sciences July 2nd, and Faculty of Law July 3rd. All the sessions take place from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we ask persons to register at sta.ue.edu/virtual open day. Now, turning our attention to another question I see we have about campus life. What can we expect? The campus is usually very lively. With COVID, how will things change? I'm considering PhD studies full-time. Does that make sense now? What can I expect? What can I expect from the campus? And Deputy Principal, I invite you to respond, Professor Indar Rabnarain.
Good evening all. Yes, campus is always lively. There are things always happening. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to be really careful. In fact, at one stage, the campus was closed. We are now allowing staff back on a phased basis, and eventually students will return. That's in September. So it all depends on how things go. We're hoping that COVID will be behind us, maybe hopefully by next year. But I mean, some people are saying it might be longer, but certainly campus is a very lively place. There are lots of clubs, lots of activities. So yes, so if you're interested, yes, I would encourage you to apply, and you will have a good time on campus, and certainly you will get your degree as well once you work hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Principal. So this is a long question. I recently graduated with 2 master's degrees in 2 years, an MBA in 2017 and an MSc in ICT in 2018. I would like to pursue a doctoral degree combining the dissertation topics of both the MBA and the MSc. The MBA dissertation title is How Can SMEs Use E-Commerce to Gain an Economic Advantage and Survive in a Recession? MSc dissertation title is Enabling Adoption to Facilitate Efficiency Between ICT and the End User. Do I enroll at Arthur Lockjack or at St. Augustine Main Campus? I suppose, do I enroll in Faculty of Social Sciences, or Faculty of Science and Technology. Where do I go? Who are the key persons to contact as prospective supervisors? Mrs. Charles Smythe, I think you should take this one and possibly give an overview of process from the beginning in terms of how to start the journey.
Okay. I am interested in pursuing a PhD. I heard you, and you want to, and you are looking at the type of research you've done. What we do recommend to students is that now what I've listened to there, it seems that FST may be a good bet, or even Faculty of Social Sciences. So if you are not certain, we'll have to give you some information on who you should contact. And we should, I think someone should put it up in the chat there. FST, we have program coordinators, but we can actually give the deputy deans information for FST and for FSS. You'll be able to write to them with your inquiries, and they will guide you through and give you the best advice they could. They will also be able at that stage to determine whether they do have people who are able to supervise that type of research. So that is what before you apply, you can actually do that. Of course, a research proposal, they will also let you know that a research proposal will be required and you'll need to complete that to go along with your application. They can also assist you with that when you do talk to them. So yes, I would recommend that you contact the faculties and we would give you the information and the names of the people. So if you can, Vinay, we'll be able to answer that question afterwards.
Okay, and we are taking note of the questions as well, and we will post it in the chat in terms of the contact persons that you can access. I have another one here as we're trying to wind down. I urge you to ask your questions if you haven't already, because we're wrapping up in a short while. One of the final ones, I am finishing my undergraduate degree at UE and have gotten provisional acceptance. They told me when I complete my degree, I should email. Do I have to wait until I get the final grades or wait until my transcript says complete?
Well, what our ladies would do, the provisional offers, we tend to revisit the provisional offers regularly and check the person's transcript. So if they're an undergraduate student at our campus, we would be able to check the transcript to see whether or not they have been awarded. So we will not be able to change the firm offer by simply seeing grades. We would actually have to see date awarded and the degree awarded and the level of that degree that has been awarded. And once we see that, and once it has satisfied the requirements for the firm offer, you're able then to change it to a firm offer.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, I have a question, and it's a pity that this person jumped on a little bit later in the session, because Prof. Harry gave a lovely PowerPoint presentation about why do postgraduate studies. So I would call on him now, because this person is asking about career prospects and is it still worth it to do a master's? So Prof. Harry, I don't know if you can give a succinct response to that.
Yeah, I did cover it in my presentation, but everybody thinks that masters is not very valuable. It's MPhil. It's not like MPhil PhD, but I do beg to differ that particular thing. Because masters is really valuable, and many of our masters program do have research component into that, and some of them have even more than 25% of the total credits, which has a real good value to it, especially the professional programs. And I will never underestimate a master's course program. I will definitely encourage, if somebody has an undergrad program with a upper second class honors, to start with masters, and then they can move on to MPhil and PhD if they want, but masters has its own definite value. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Mrs. Charles Smite, I have completed my degree, but in the student administration system, it still says provisional. And while you have the floor, I want you to also answer, please. What if the university is not emailing transcripts? So those two questions. The administration system is saying provisional, and what if there's no email transcripts?
Okay, the first thing I will need to determine, is this an undergraduate student from our campus? It sounds so.
It seems so. It seems so from
Right.
from the comment.
Okay, so what we can do, we can actually check the name to see who asked that question, and we can check to see their transcript. In that case, you will then be able to offer the offer. So it'll be good to know which program the person applied to, et cetera, et cetera. All right. For those universities that are not emailing transcripts, it means we have to await that transcript from the university before we are able to actually send out your firm offer. We really do need to see how you perform at your courses, etc. We sometimes may use the student transcript in the meantime, but we really do need the original transcript from the university. And so we will just have to wait for the university to mail us the transcript.
We're seeing here that the person is not a UE person. So shall we just take the email address and we can correspond subsequently?
Yes, yes, we can do that.
Okay. All right. Mr. Snacks, again, we have a question around accommodation. I have been approved for boarding, but still await the rental agreement. When will the rental agreement be ready? So this is a question about the cycle and the timing. Mr. Snacks?
Thank you. Our rental agreements are actually being reviewed right now by our legal department. We intend to send the rental agreements out in July.
Okay. Thank you for that very specific response. And Prof. Harry, I call on you for a clarification about the difference. I know we said it before, but as I said, we have persons jumping on at different points on this session. The difference between MPhil and MSc and the procedure to move from an undergraduate degree to an MPhil.
Okay, thank you. MPhil is purely a research-based degree, and MSc is a taught master's program which has taught courses as well as a research component. Now, many programs, many MPhil programs here may require a basic MSc, because if they come with a bachelor's degree without any research experience, to take MPhil as a fully research-based degree may be a bit difficult, especially in certain sciences. So it all depends on the department and the faculty and the specialty they want to do it. But if one has a good research experience and completed some research courses like statistics and research methodology courses, and if the department is satisfied, they may enroll them for MPhil with a bachelor's degree. But it is always a good idea to have some research experience before getting into the MPhil, because it is purely based on research. I think that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. And we are getting a call for a really in-depth discussion around the PhD and the experience. So I want to put the panelists on the spot a little bit and ask them to share quickly, because I know personally that they have different experiences from where they sit, to share their PhD experience, and possibly we can start with the campus principal and share his PhD experience, followed by the deputy principal and then the campus registrar.
Yeah, well, I don't think we have all night, but I did my PhD. I started in '87 at the University of Southern California, USC. and I completed in 3 years in electrical engineering. I have to say that I was concerned about doing a PhD and coming back to the Caribbean because at a PhD level, you're so tightly focused that you worry about application, especially in engineering. However, what I found, this is for me in particular because I was looking at academia, is that it gave me a perspective, not just on the discipline, but on life itself. I was able, in my particular area, to draw together strands of knowledge that come from a wide variety of fields. Just yesterday, I was sharing with the undergrad session that a lot of theory and techniques that came from social sciences, would you believe, and even from humanities, made their way into engineering, and I was made well aware of that. And I was able actually to see the world in a different way. So that to me was the greatest lesson that I learned coming out of a PhD program. Of course, the environment makes for a difference. It really is a level of reflection into theory. And make no bones about it. Knowledge is vast. I'm afraid to say infinite, but it is vast. It's so vast. And there's still a lot of room to pick away at the boundaries of knowledge and bring it back for the benefit of mankind, which is what I was really interested in. So that in a nutshell is really and truly my experience. I interacted with lots of people across the world. Learned a lot from my supervisor in terms of crafting papers, deep thought, deep consideration, even thoughts on how to look at questions before you answer. I learned a lot from my PhD. I did not actually expect to learn that much. I expected there to be more work of an academic nature, but there was much more than that. That's the most I can say in such a short time.
Thank you for that. I think that gave a good idea of what persons can expect. And I'm sure that you'd have varying experiences. So Deputy Principal, if you want to jump in and share a brief bit about your experience.
And thanks, Sunil. I would have done my first degree at UWI. Then I went away to University of Wales and did my MSc. And then I returned to UWI to do a PhD, something I always wanted to do. I promised my parents, in fact, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, but I didn't like blood and all these things. So I thought I'll do a PhD and still be called a doctor, and so to make them proud. So I did register for an MPhil initially at UWI in the Department of Zoology, Faculty of Natural Sciences in those days. And then after 2 years, I upgraded to a PhD. I was fortunate to have landed a job as a teaching assistant and then as an assistant lecturer, and that was able to support me for that time. The PhD was done on a part-time basis, and it took me 6 years. And I was really excited about research, about discovering new things, and about publishing. And I'm really proud to say that out of my PhD, I was able to publish 8 papers, which was quite good going in those days. That time at UWI was really exciting for me because I met really good people, good friends, good mentors. And most importantly, I met my future wife while being a postgrad student. So I really benefited a lot from my stay at UWI. And in fact, that's why I'm still here. I'm still at UWI. I will never leave until I retire. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Principal, for that testimonial. And I now call on the campus registrar to share her experience, which I know is different as well. Dr. Gill?
Thank you, Winell. That's certainly putting us on the spot. I had a different experience in that I did my doctoral studies a bit later. I did it at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and I already had a family. I had tremendous support from my husband. It was very tough. I had 2 boys that I had to mother. And so it was balancing that, having that balance between pursuing doctoral studies and family. I actually took some time off from work to complete my EDD, and it was a very hard, fast-paced program. It's a little different. The US doctoral programs are a little different to the ones here. And so you had to do a comprehensive exam. You had to do a lot of, the first year was a lot of taught programs. And so it was difficult. I got into it approximately 10 years after completing, 10 or 12 years after completing my master's. So it was a tough transition. It was hard. The best part of it was the research that I did and meeting other persons who were, immersed in that area. It was a program in higher education leadership, and I don't regret it one moment.
Wow. Well, I know I put you three on the spot, and I really want to thank you for your responses because, I like how we could get real and give real responses and testimonials. You weren't prepared for those questions, but I think you shared some of your personal lives, and I think people can only benefit from that. So as we wind down now, I know that Prof. Harry as well could share on the topic. So in sharing on his personal journey, I would also ask him to give any final words as we start to wrap this session this evening. Prof. Harry?
Okay, thank you. Actually, my experience with PhD in UV is very, very similar to what campus registrar just described, because I was extremely a mature student. I was a professor already, but I just still wanted to do a PhD in health economics. I'm a medically qualified person. So I had my postgrad degree in medicine with research background. So, but I was so passionate in completing a PhD in health economics. So I enrolled into economics department in right here in Faculty of Social Sciences, and Professor Theodore was there at that time, and Althea Lafoucault, so many people. Everybody is so congenial, and they were helping me to pass through the journey. And I will tell you that I'm a recent graduate, so 2015 my PhD, so I can vouch for the integrity and the processes involved in PhD in this university. So it's a very good experience, and I'm sure that anybody who wants to pursue research-based degrees in this campus, I will strongly recommend to join those such degrees. Okay, so that is my personal experience, and I want to actually, as you said, I want to give some concluding remarks. There are a lot of misconceptions and a lot of myths around that, because we being a public institution, a government institution, that efficiency wise, even last week when I came into campus, somebody stopped me and asked so many different questions. But I'll tell you that we have come a very long way. Right from the time of the COVID, we have pulled our socks. We have done everything possible to increase our efficiency, and we are there to help prospective students. And as I told you, we do have a chat function Monday to Friday, 10 to 2. Anybody can live chat with our customer service representatives. You can contact any one of us by email. We will immediately respond. And any doubts regarding individual faculty programs and courses, we will give you the liaison person in the particular faculty. And we have come a long way with respect to efficiency. And I will take personal responsibility. Anybody who has any issue of contacting or actually having any delays, you can contact me straight, and we will work with you, and we are here to help you. So I do want to debunk all the myths and misconceptions that we are not efficient, and we will, once you apply, you won't get anything. You have to sit on it and all that. So please take away that and approach us, and we will help you as soon as possible. And that is what I wanted to say. Thank you, Vinay.
Thank you, Prof. And Mrs. Charles Smythe, I know you were on the floor a lot this evening. Any final words for our prospects as we wrap this session?
I think Professor Harris said it all. What I can simply say is that I do look forward to serving the public. I do hope that they would put in their applications because they would have a rich experience at the University of the West Indies. I can vouch for that, and so I look forward to this. Thank you so much.
Well, viewers, thank you for being with us this evening. It really was a pleasure. It was my pleasure to host you. Look out for an email from us where we will share the recording from this evening, and we will also direct you to some additional resources. And please be sure to complete our post-event survey following the end of this session. We await your valuable feedback. For those on Zoom, it will pop up once the session ends. For those on Facebook, check the comments section. And so from all of us, from the panelists, from all the colleagues at the St. Augustine campus, we really look forward very, very much to welcoming you to the University of the West Indies in September 2021. Thank you very much and have a good night.